Two More Sleeps is such a fascinating read. This is a foster care memoir from Rosie Lewis. This was released originally in 2014, and because it's a short memoir, I can't go into too much detail without giving too much away. But basically, Rosie looks after a little child called Angel because Angel is found one day scared and alone and cold in a park on a freezing winter's day. And interestingly, Rosie actually meets the child's mother for the handover because the mother is Nikki is not really agreeing for Angel to go into care, but I think she realizes that this is what needs to happen, but on the condition that she meets Rosie first, which I think is a reasonable request that I'm surprised more parents don't have. Because most parents who don't want their children to go into care would at least want to know who is looking after their child. And Angel is understandably distraught, and Rosie and her children do their best to try and make Angel happy. This is right around Christmas time, so there are a lot of festivities, but obviously when you've just been taken from your mother, you're probably not going to be in the best kind of Christmas spirit. Nevertheless, they do try, and Angel slowly begins to come out of their shell. And it's unclear what's going to happen going forward. But what I will say is expect the unexpected, and I'll say no more than that. There are a couple of surprises in this, and I think it wasn't at all what I was expecting. What I will say is that I think social services were too willing to move forward with the care plan. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment with a spoiler warning, but I don't necessarily 100% agree with the outcome of the book, but nevertheless, it was an interesting read, very fascinating, completely not what I was expecting, and also really eye opening as well. So, definitely worth checking out. It's about a half an hour read, not too long at all, but it didn't feel like it needed to be much longer, to be perfectly honest. So, a spoiler from now, I won't discuss too much, but I will discuss ultimately what happens with Angel and why I think I don't necessarily agree with it. So, Angel, the plan for Angel is to go back to their mother, and we learn that the mother was protecting Angel, and the mother was being forced by an abusive partner to sell herself. Um, and Angel was always nearby because she didn't want to leave Angel with the abusive partner. Completely understand that. However, I don't think social services were right to just go, okay, this is what's happened according to you, let's get you into some supported living and Angel can come back with you and we'll just move forward. I feel like there should have been a lot more investigation. I don't think they should have just taken Nikki's word for it as being the truth. I'm not saying Nikki wasn't telling the truth, but you never know. Having said that, maybe things were glossed over in the story because it is a short story. Maybe behind the scenes, all of that was happening. They were investigating things, they had more evidence, and we just weren't privy to that information. If that's the case, absolutely fine. But just based on what's in the book, I think they were too willing to just accept her side of the story. Again, I think she's probably telling the truth. But when you've got the care of a vulnerable child at the forefront of what you do, I feel like maybe more caution was needed. But nevertheless, it's still an interesting read, and that aside, um, it's definitely one that I really thoroughly recommend.